Right guys, so what you're going to see now is, wait up, we should rewind. So I'm making another video, which you guys know, it's the audiobook. Well, yes, while I'm halfway through that, another idea and information came to me because I was reading off this website, and that's what I'm going to read out for this other video that I've just started. Then while making that video, I had an epiphany. And all things swirling around my head, so I want to make you a quick spell etymology special, and that's what you're going to see today. So buckle up, you're going to need it. It's a huge what if, it's a black sheep special of sorts, and it gave me the absolutely huge chills down the back of my neck, like no way. And yes, this is going to be a huge stretch, and a lot will be triggered just off of what basically a word is I'm going to use, but then when you put it in conjunction with what I'm talking about in this video, it's got me emotional. Things are happening behind, I've had some bad news, and it's hit me, and so I'm like you, I find my head going in different things, and this is help. So hopefully you enjoy. Definition of dead weight: the heaviness of a person or object that cannot or does not move by itself. So this got me thinking, and I know some people don't want me to think because crazy things come out of that head when I'm thinking. So we're talking about dead weight, and this will lead to something. I'm just like prolonging it. I'm like, I want to show you what's in my head, and you come to the same conclusion I have, and let's see if it makes sense for you, because I definitely need people with smarter heads than me on this one. But hey, this is just how I work, and I just want to share what crazy shit that goes on in my head. So we're talking about dead weight. That'll give you a little clue, right? And I've talked about this many times over the years in videos, that we've heard of the phrase energy doesn't die. Is a simplified way of explaining the laws of conversion or conservation of energy, which states that energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transformed from one form to another. When a living thing dies, the energy it contained is not eliminated, but is converted into other forms, such as heat and chemical energy in decaying matter. This energy then becomes available for other systems like decomposers in an ecosystem, continuing the cycle. What if energy from when we die, our soul, whatever, if you do not believe in heaven and it goes somewhere else? Or could this be in regard to spells? Once we've created a spell, like abracadabra or something like that, and that spell hits the medium, it creates cymatics. But then when does the energy then die of that? I've talked about, does it stay with us in this memory, atmospheric memory, or does it go somewhere else? Now if you go off that, it goes somewhere else and becomes a force. So these are clues that's going on in this crazy head. So let's continue along this journey. Each celestial body, in fact, each and every atom produces a particular sound on account of its movement, its rhythm or vibration. All these sounds and vibrations form a universal harmony in which each element, while having its own function and character, contributes to the whole. So we've heard that, frequency and harmony, it's all frequency and vibration. We've heard this. But when this vibration, this spell dies, where does its energy go? Does it go back to source, or does it go to a place? Is it used as, so let's say, a prison or an enclosure, or are we in this? Because you've heard me talk about we are living in Sheol many times in the last few videos. So there's an idea, and there's an idea to something else which will become apparent. So everything is energy, And that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This is not philosophy, this is physics. Albert Einstein. So we're starting to get to the crux of the matter, and this gives me the chills, because obviously you can see from the intro there was dead bodies and things and dead weight, because even something dead has a weight. Now, is that metaphorically? Because we've all picked someone up, it just won't refuse to move. It gets heavy, doesn't it? So I'm like, well, people, the dead, are buried. Is that to create a force? Is that to create weight? I don't know, but let's carry on. So you saw me a clip further along where I talk about for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. So I just put two waves on. Well, I put one wave on and then I put the other. Now, when this opposite force reacts, doesn't it remind you of the hourglass that I'm talking about? That's just a little snippet that came through my head. So what I'm talking about, dead weight, I want to include a word that triggers a lot of people in certain communities, and that word is gravity. And there is also a big argument on what gravity is, buoyancy and density, etc. And people back and forward will be debating, arguing and slinging shit at each other because they want to say it's this, they want to say it's that. But let me add something else in, and I've talked about it so far. Is gravity the energy, the opposite reaction, equal and opposite reaction of something dead and something alive? Is the dead what is the force behind what is known as gravity? And I'm just looking at it from a spell etymology point of view and throwing a few crazy things in, because if we look at it, the fundamental force between objects with mass is what the term is gravity. An attractive force that exists between any two objects with mass or energy, responsible for keeping planets in orbit, holding galaxies together and making objects fall to Earth. So these are some of the things that get people triggered because they believe they're passionate. There's nothing wrong with that. And so they're talking here about this Newton. Well, Newton was into occultism. He was looking into a lot of things. So I thought, could there something be hidden in this? So let's just carry on what they say, because I want to show what they say, and then I'll show and talk about what I say. So, though it's the weakest of the four fundamental forces, gravity, electromagnetism, strong nuclear, weak nuclear. While Newton described it as a force, Einstein's general relativity explains it as a curvature of space-time caused by mass and energy. So let's have a look at the word gravity as a spell. So the root gravity or gravitas means heavy. So yeah, that goes in what would they say. But if you start looking at it further, all relating to weight or seriousness, in contrast the word grave, burial place, comes from the Germanic grab, and some people call it gravity, but it also means to dig. So you can see why it raises an eyebrow for me, because I'm talking we live in a cave within a cave within a cave, a hollow earth. But also, where do some people get buried? They get buried in holes. They get buried in the hollow, the holy. Old Norse groff meaning trench or ditch. So it's saying there that gravity, gravitas, gravis, means grave. So you add the itas. It isn't a simple common English word, but usually appears as a Latin suffix, itas, formed abstract nouns meaning quality of being, like in liberty, but it's also derived from Latin itas and Proto-Indo-European, the Pi roots. Alternatively, itas can come from Sanskrit, meaning hence, meaning where it's come forth from. It means from here. Can you see why this gets you? Because I've put it below so you can see it. From this time, from now, henceforward, also param, ita param. So it means from here. So they're talking about gravity as a force between two objects. The mass right? So if the spell etymology is saying that it's from the grave, is this energy that's attracting objects to downwards? Yes, people go buoyancy and density and gravity. Gravity is just a spell. But why did they promote it? Because it's talking about from the death. See, what got me about this, guys, is if you go and have a look now, don't take my word for it, but they say gravity gives weight to physical objects. But what about the spiritual? What about the supernatural? All energy is supposedly has a little tiny bit of mass or weight. So are they talking about this grave force? Does that give weight to the physical, the living? And because everything has an opposite reaction, so opposites attract. So the living and the dead attract each other, bringing the force to each other. That's just how I'm seeing it. That this force is coming from the dead. Remember, go back to the beginning, the phrase energy does not die. Where is this energy from? So when we use energy and we expand it out into the ether. But does this energy then go somewhere else? When do we die? That's why they bury people in the ground. For God's sake, it's right there in our faces. That's blew me, man. And then when we start talking about mass in regard to gravity, mass, it's like church. And mass and requiem. The word requiem comes from the Latin word requiem, meaning rest or repose. It's named after the first line of the Mass of the Dead. The requiem, and I'm not speaking in Latin, requiem etiam dona esse dome, which translates to grant them eternal rest, O Lord. And the Latin origin, the word is derived from the Latin requies, meaning rest. So a mass, which you're talking about in regard to gravity, is basically praying for the dead to rest. Let they be in peace. Well, energy does not die. It goes somewhere. This has blew my mind, guys. It really has. Because I'm just looking at things differently, and I've always talked about, well, energy doesn't die. Where does it go? Is this why they bury people in the ground so that energy then goes down? Are we in Sheol? Is it being used as a force? Is it used to keep things attracted and stuck in a dimension or realm? There's so many ways you can look at this, and I just want to be food for thought for someone who can excel and look at this a little bit different. I'm taking it further from what I'm talking about, but this is mind-blowing. So if you want to help me or the channel, please just like, share and subscribe. It really does help. And if you want to help me even more, you can always buy me a bar, which is buy me a coffee. Right, guys? So hopefully you've enjoyed this little quick spell etymology special, dead weights.